know how many millions of little
real quick, Philip. Hey, sorry everybody out there. I just noticed the stream cut out and I turned it back on. So hopefully we are back on. That was weird. I'm glad I looked up at the top right hand corner and it said we weren't online. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? We were just online. So sorry, everybody.
Do I have to go back over the cats and the alarm?
No, you don't. You don't have to go. Anyway, it was weird. It was weird.
The Sphere in Vegas, basically, they can throw up a huge representation of, let's just say, any city or any planet or any sort of virtual reality you can think of, and it's so realistic. It's overwhelming. And the venue is not that large, but it seems like it's expansive.
It looks large. When I was out there earlier this year at the Keller Heckman Symposium, we were staying at the Embassy Suites, just right down the street, walking distance from the convention center. And you walk outside and you see the Sphere just off in front of you to your left, and it looks like you're on. You think you're on another planet.
Convention center area is definitely the place to see. And as much as we did not get to see Diane, she had a last minute engagement she couldn't get out of. We had planned to meet up Saturday night later. She helped us out with everything from restaurants to, where to park. We had we talked on the phone all throughout. At the last minute, she had to go take care of something, and obviously that was perfectly cool. But we had brunch at her favorite place. It's called Firefly Spanish Tapas.
Yeah, I know where that is. It's there on Paradise.
There are two of them. It's not the one on Paradise. It's not the one on Paradise. It's the one that's a little bit further off the strip. I walked to and from Paradise. That's where I found the only place in Vegas. Yes, you can get anything in Vegas. You can get anything you want.
Yeah.
Guess what? You got to walk from where I was staying all the way to the Arco, the intersection of Presley and Paradise, to get a vape. And guess what? I spent $30 on a bloody Views Alto because I was done with it. I would have bought the the Logic Power Pro, but $25 for just the bloody just the battery and the charger. I'm like, it doesn't come in the pod? No.
I'm
like, Vegas, baby. Anyhow, it was great. We had a wonderful time, and Diane, huge thanks to Diane Goldstein for helping us make it through there, because it was myself, Deirdre, and Michael. Let's just say that on the third day, Michael didn't want to be anywhere near us, and quite frankly, I wanted him gone too. Anyhow, let's moving on.
You bring up an interesting thing, though. It's like we now, as vapors, like when we schedule our vacations, that has become part of the vacation. It's like, hey, what happens if I can't bring my vape, or is there a vape where I'm going? Can I get it? Is it going to be how much money? You think we've gotten to that point where we have to kind of, if we can't bring our stuff and we have to find it where we're going, it could be an adventure like you're talking about. It's like, hey, I had to go all the way outside of town to get this, and I paid $30 for it,
I've never actually had any problem.
Yeah.
And I've flown a lot with various, vaping accessories. Here's the only problem I ever run into. Yes, you're going to find some TSA agent who thinks that, your Enjoy Ace is a deadly weapon. Yeah, that happened in Fort Lauderdale. The other thing is that you will, and I do mean you will, end up with juice everywhere and wherever you put your tanks and or pods, because if they're even half full, that pressure, you have to bring them in carry-on. Do not pack any
in a
vape
Ziploc
stuff.
bag.
Bring bring the cringiest vape you have, carry on, and they're fine with it. Rather, they have to be fine with it. Put it in a Ziploc bag, double bag it. I don't care.
And
if you want to stealth vape on the plane, know this. There's a pretty good
don't
chance.
be doing that, please.
Well, too late, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
No, what I'm saying, if you should stealth chain vape and you pull a little too often, that's going to leak too, and that can get embarrassing. We all know.
Yeah, why does the plane smell like strawberries? What's going on here?
No, man, I stuck to tobacco so people would think that everything was status quo. That's the reason I went for the FDA authorized, because frankly, they're the smallest and least satisfying. But they're getting better. At least the Enjoy gets better. They have pods now that would have new wicking. Anyway, I'm going to shut the hell up. Michelle, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing
It's
great.
lovely to see your smiling face.
And Greg, how is your week going?
Well, we're doing, I'm representing a group of folks that are doing cannabis dispensary applications in Kentucky. So it's been a busy last couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's the natural evolution of everything, isn't it?
It's just strange hearing that, right? I mean, the battles they've gone through for 200 years, and now all of a sudden they're just, almost accepted everywhere. And we're having this battle for something that's going to save many lives, and we're fighting their same battle. That
Alabama is on the verge of being a place where you're more likely to get something that is proper weed. And less likely to be able to come by, a 12 milligram freebase, in pina colada. So it's just, we're in an upside down world as far as tobacco harm reduction is concerned. But I like what I'm hearing from a lot of, very vocal ex-tobacco control warriors who have kind of come over to say,
Phillip. Hey,
yes,
Phillip.
You got cut out there.
Phillip, you'll love this being from Alabama. I'm sorry. You'll love this being from Alabama. Representative Drummond, who was the one who sponsored the registry bill and HB 65 this last year, well, she's not a big fan of ours. Well, some of our folks sent me a picture that they had found, a screenshot they had of her at the DNC the other night, Monday night. And my response was, I hope everybody's sitting around her's vaping.
She loves me. We all know how much she loves me.
She's gotta love that, dude.
Let me tell you who she really loves is Rob Roberts.
Well, that's a given. Everybody loves Rob Roberts. She doesn't like me for the oldest of reasons, because I give off an air of, I don't know, I guess I went to school and somewhere. And here's what I think. I think that for the longest time, I gave her the benefit of the doubt and thought, please, she must be misinformed or truly just that ill-informed about these products.
Or paid well.
Yeah, the first open, engagement at the State House to speak, for or against her bill. She was the first one to get up there, and she went on. And I was there with Greg and a few other, people, but Greg, drove all the way down, and we were there sitting together. And she just, at the top of her lungs, she just was talking about her family's history of cancer, and just what did that have to do with vaping?
Yeah.
She just basically made that sort of, she made that connection between vaping and cancer. And of course, I listen way too critically when these people are talking. So when it's my time to get up there and speak, I said, thank you, good people, for listening to me today, having me there. And I appreciate what the good representative has to say. And I'm very sorry for her, various losses, but vaping does not cause cancer.
No. Let me say hello to everybody out there. And again, apologizing. I don't know what happened. The stream ended and I had to restart it. So I started looking at Peggy's message. It says, hey, John, your alarms are going off. And that's why I looked up. I was like, wait a minute, we're online. And again, I thank God I looked up there. Thank you, Mallory. Mallory Gate, Rifleman. I'm not doing it. The Rifleman and James R is out there. Peggy, come back. Peggy was upset she left, but hopefully she comes back. She says I'm having deja vu. That's when I overslept and didn't start the show.
No, that just happened last week, yo.
Yeah. So no, we were live last week, weren't we? I think so. Got my
but to wrap up what I was saying is I now realize that Barbara Drummond, to my absolute it's so horrible to have to learn these things. You know that they might be, but no, she knows full well that her bill is being backed by Altria, Reynolds, etc. And she just doesn't care. She's quite frankly just going to shill for whoever is going to do more for her reelection. And that's it's really it's terrible when you have to just face facts and realize she's just not playing for the same reasons that you are.
Yeah.
Well, but I think in the same token, she's also lost some credibility with members of the other party in the legislature.
Well, counselor, this is the state of Alabama. The fact, we have, she was already, let's just say we have a few very impressive legislators in our state house from both sides of the aisle. But obviously, Alabama far more red than blue. So she's already, just trying to, throw up something that everybody can get behind. Well, I'm glad to hear that she's pissed off a few people. What I can't figure out how to do is, for example, the representative from the Tuscaloosa, from Tuscaloosa County, younger black gentleman, handsome, very outspoken.
I know who you're talking about.
Not Chris from the Senate, but from the House. And anyway, he's a very I'm very fond of him all the way through most every issue until we get to tobacco harm reduction, where he tends to side with Barbara Drummond, which it's really hard to get your head around. Anyhow, hey Peggy.
Well, and for instance, the Alabama is going to be a fight again next year. We'll have to fight that up. But on the same token, I've talked to Ron Marshall, Montana. Ron's already told the lobbyists for the big tobacco companies out there, and they've only got like one guy doing this. He's already told him, pass the word to Altria back east. Don't even think about doing their bill here.
Yeah,
it'll be dead on arrival.
Yeah. Can I ask you, are you talking about the much older gentleman who is almost has an accent that's so thick you can barely understand what the hell he's talking about?
Ron Marshall?
No. I thought he was a lobbyist for Reynolds, but he might represent both. Altria.
No, the guy who's his name's EJ. I forgot his last name in Montana.
Yeah. Oh,
EJ. No, he doesn't have a thick accent. He's a Montana guy. But he's the one who represents the big tobacco companies, lobbies for them in Montana. And Ron's already told him, pass the word along to Altria. Don't even try it here, because Ron is apparently going to be the chair of one of the committees next year in the House that the bill would have to go through. And he's already told them it'll be dead on arrival.
Yeah. Let me get back.
Ron and Deanna, they're heroes. And I think
Right.
they're in a place where, I mean, he is now what? They're the state representatives, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's running for his third term, and he's going to have token opposition. He'll win in a 4-1 landslide. And he'll be chair of the Business and Labor Committee, which is anything involving business labor has to go before his committee. And that it's going to be, that he's going to have the members of his caucus will have questions lined out to ask that are pointed to the point, probing. And of course, then I'll be there if they do this to testify.
Well, I want to go back to Michelle had a question for you. Hold on, Phillip. Michelle, go ahead. You had a question for Greg, and I cut you off earlier. I apologize. Well, I noticed we were offline anyway, so it wouldn't have made a difference.
I don't remember.
You don't remember it? And she was all excited too, and I was like, I felt bad. I was like, oh shit, we're not online.
Hey, I only have a few minutes.
Yeah, me too. It's a quick one. Let's get into the first one. Vaping, sniffing dogs coming to Metro District, Detroit School District. We're going to get dogs. Lakeview Public School expanding its partnership with Zebra Canines to include vape sniffing dogs. I didn't even know that was possible. So are they sniffing for tobacco? That's the only chemical they could? I mean, what else could they be? VG, PG? I mean... I don't.
lithium ion batteries. We're going to have a lot of false positives with high-tech scientific calculators out there.
As I said earlier, I hope that they're cross-trained to also sniff drugs.
No, the drugs are going to get in. The drugs are fine. The drugs are fine.
I truly can't begin to imagine what it is they're sniffing for.
Yeah.
That said, the fact that they're training dogs to sniff for something specific to vapes is just, my God, is this bad fiction or what?
They use dogs now to get to truffles, to sniff out cancers, to even know in advance of people with seizures and all kinds of things. So I would imagine that they could train a dog for anything.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Here's what I think: cancer, truffles, to a slightly lesser extent. These are all important things that you want your pig. Well, no, man. Even before Nicolas Cage played his tremendous role in the film Pig, I knew about truffle harvesting using pigs because damn, your average black truffle is worth a hell of a lot of money at your Michelin restaurant. Anyway, the point is these are all worthwhile endeavors. Get your I don't care if it's a groundhog out there, getting whatever skeletons. Yes, these are important things.
According to Superintendent Carl Paulson, they are used canines that detect firearms, explosives, narcotics last year and enjoyed great success. So I hope I'm going to look into this article a little bit because I'm kind of curious of what these dogs are trained to sense from a vape. I don't know, man. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, nicotine smells though.
It's
it could be
clearly
nicotine.
It's mango, Johnny.
It's that mango, man. They sense that mango. They're just gonna go straight into that bag.
Hi out there, good people. This is the point in the show where Philip has a stroke. How we doing?
See what you started, Philip? Mango sniffing dogs.
And hey,
this is what Diane Goldstein would refer to as misallocation of resources.
Firearms and drugs in Detroit schools. I'm shocked.
I'm shocked.
Firearms and drugs in schools, period. Not as shocking. Certainly not shocking now that they're not sniffing for them. They're like going for the creme brulee. Jesus, help me, Lord.
He quotes, "I'm not saying we'll catch everyone." Paulson said, "Dogs aren't everywhere all the time."
Master Redfern, how are you? Mango sniffing dogs. They're now mango peach watermelon sniffing dogs.
Did we get through the whole list of people that were here, John?
Yes, I am. I didn't get finished through it, but I'm going to go right through it now because James R is here. Peggy made it. Peggy came back. Thank you, Peggy. Sorry about that. We got
Can I do my favorite Tim?
And we got put back on.
No, sorry.
Steve Troutman is here as well. And of course, Mr. Michael Renford is back. And Janine is with us. I can't remember all the things that Tim calls you, but Janine is here. I'm glad to see Janine here. And we'll get back to it. I guess to me, this seems like those dogs could be used elsewhere, like in some other important role. Maybe maybe at the airport or at the border patrol or at the bus stops, anywhere else than the school. To sniffing nicotine at a school, it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it's just poor use of funds. Am I okay to say that?
I just want to know if their training crosses over with vapes, nicotine vapes, and tobacco, cigarettes, traditional cigarettes. So let's just say good. I would hope that they are killing those two adult products with one dog, because let's just say if there's a different dog for each one of those no-nos.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to talk with someone about where my tax dollars are going and why.
Yeah, there's a lot of money that goes into training those dogs. We're talking $100,000 plus.
Oh, good Lord, yes, you're absolutely right. And
absolutely.
I liken it to animal cruelty to put these poor dogs through the steps only to have them all vape crazy. This is like ridiculous.
What happens if the dog gets addicted to the nicotine? No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm
to a
just
certain
kidding.
extent, a lot of them, that's how their training
Nobody
works.
cares about the dogs, Philip. Nobody cares about the dog. No, but how hilarious would it be if the dog actually sniffs out the vape, but lets the person with the pack of cigarettes through?
That's what I was gonna say. If this,
Yeah. That is,
if the two aren't,
yeah.
if this training isn't crossover to where the both products are detected by the dog, well, let's just say I'd like to speak to the other dog and just commiserate for a while.
But one's illegal, you have to remember. Only one.
You know, it's Michelle. I'm getting through this whole illegal thing. You know, the cigarette's legal, the vape's illegal. I'm working through it. I'll get there. Next show, I'm going to be better. I'll be closer to understanding how that works.
Well, I also, I'm just trying to remember my days back in high school and how easy it was to get alcohol in our lockers. So I'm wondering if there is some way, somehow looking for alcohol as well, because I had a buddy of mine, I'm not going to give out his name, but his dad owned the liquor store, which was 1 block away from the high school. And at lunchtime, we used to go there and he would ask us stupidly to restack the fridges with beer in the back room. So, had that room, you go in the back and you load from the back to the front, and we would just start sticking beers in our jackets and we would leave. We'd fill the rack up and then leave. And his dad would go, "Thanks for the extra help." And we just said, "Yeah, thanks, Bob." And we just get on our way and we'd have.
So you would actually drink beers throughout the school day?
Yeah.
I got a story, but I ain't gonna say.
I mean, I knew people that did that before school and stuff. Like, for example, my English teacher, my senior year of high school, at least my final period English teacher, I had the same. I think I would probably have 2 cigarettes a day in the back. We didn't have, but I would have 2 cigarettes every day at school. Same kind of routine, kind of mixed up a little bit. But my English teacher knew full well exactly where I had my pre-7th period English smoke, because, well, I would come, she'd be like, "Bloody hell, Kirschberg, at least, wash your hands or do something." You she smelled like Winston-Salem. God. And she would, curse too. I loved her. And then, of course, I got caught once. And, I hate being guy who's gonna, when Mr. Miles, like the guy you least want to get caught by, comes in like, "Is that your cigar?" I should have just said like, "Nope, never seen it." Of course, I was like, "Yes," because I thought maybe there was some. I believe that there is. I don't know. I don't believe there's any. There's a certain decency in not being that schmuck who tries to tell the absurd lie.
Yeah.
Well, but at the same, there's no leniency whatsoever. Certainly not for Mr. Miles. But we never.
I mean, I was early 80s in high school, so there wasn't a lot really going on that they were worried about. There wasn't any gang shit yet. There wasn't, people, in the Crips or the Bloods. And, I don't ever remember a gun being at school or if there was a fight, At the end of it, they were buddies, they shook hands, and they walked away. And,
we didn't have guns. There were definitely some fights that went further than they should have. And a couple people got hurt. But other than that, but at the same time, in the late 70s, they closed down the smoking section outside. Throughout the 80s and the early 90s. People were smoking. It was absolutely, no.
We had the smoking section in I graduated in 86. So we had the smoking area right in the front of the school at the bike rack.
I don't doubt it. We had enough teachers that were like smoking like fiends between every
I had
period.
Teachers bumming cigarettes off me.
True. I just had a massive flashback. Anyway, but like I was in 10th grade in 1990, and let's just say at any time that I was in 7th, 8th, through my senior year, alcohol, whereas cigarette smoking would get you a day of like maybe in school suspension or something like that, which is no fun, but it's definitely not that big of a deal. Drinking would absolutely, getting caught with alcohol, that would be major.
Yeah.
And I never understood why people would do that for school, because I would never be able to continue to drink to where I didn't get hungover by, midday.
You don't get drunk. You just get that little buzz going. Yeah, see?
I just don't understand this chick.
Yeah, especially if you had PE. And during PE, come on, man.
I had to play baseball, man. I had to try.
I played football. I played on the football team. I didn't really have to do PE. I just kind of showed up.
Come on, Phil. Mickey Mantle did it drunk.
Yeah, Babe Ruth was, he
there's
pound like 10
always
hot dogs.
some asshole with a JD who says Mickey Mantle did it.
Babe Ruth would chew down like 10 hot dogs and probably like a case of beer. Hey, Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant would drink a whole case of beer and wrestle.
This is why I have a very, very fully... I have an excellent self-concept. My self-esteem is intact. You know why? I don't compare myself to Andre the Giant or Mickey Mantle.
Come on. You wish you were as tall as Andre the Giant.
I absolutely don't. No. Never once.
Well, we were talking earlier with Greg when I thought we were online, but I was kind of talking about, it being really quiet and assuming the dreaded fear of things being dealt behind closed doors without us knowing about it. And Greg, you're going to have to re-elaborate on everything you said, because I don't think it got out there. Your thoughts on that feeling that some people may be having, that is so quiet that almost feels like there's some people behind closed doors trying to figure out some sort of deal to move forward.
Well, there's the fact that we found out on July 2nd that the Supreme Court was taking cert in Triton. That sort of sent a shockwave through the industry, because the Supreme Court taking the case is sort of, oh, whoa, this is different. We're going to get some finality to this either way, either good for us or bad for us. We don't know. And there's mutual risk here. So are there being discussions going on behind the scenes? I think you can count on that. But because industry's got a mutual risk of losing, but so does FDA.
Yeah.
And if FDA loses Triton, then it's going to be facing a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
Okay. I mentioned before that FDA has recently announced they've modernized and made more user-friendly their online filing portal. Well, if all the PMTAs are already in, why would they need to do that? Yeah. Unless you're expecting millions of more PMTAs, which is what will happen if they lose Triton. Give an example. It was 6.7 million for nicotine vapor products in 2021 or 2020. How many do you think it would be now with all the disposable products out there?
Oh, Jesus Christ. There's a new disposable every week.
How many pending PMTAs, or how much in terms of?
No, I mean, assuming that everybody who got an MDO refiled a PMTA, and all these new disposables filed a PMTA. That's 10 million applications easily.
Yeah.
I would think 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if FDA loses Triton, it faces the possibility of having millions and millions of more PMTAs thrown up on it in a relatively short order.
Yeah.
And has a year to adjudicate those applications. And if the Supreme Court says what we think they're going to say, what we hope they're going to say, is that if FDA wants to regulate flavors in vapes, they've got to go through the rulemaking process, which would take 18 months to 2 years. So there's going to be a huge vacuum out there for a period of time if FDA loses. It would behoove FDA to make a deal with the industry now.
Yeah, that's what I'm
mitigate its risk. And I'm going to be speaking at a symposium in New York at the end of next month at the Harvard Club. And it's 23rd. It's the 23rd. It is the SkyX group is doing a symposium. There's going to be a number of people there. Supposedly I'm going to be on a panel talking about the recent Chevron decision and Triton and some other stuff. And apparently someone from FDA's Office of Science, maybe even the director of it, is going to be on that panel.
Really?
Oh, wow.
It'll be a good time to maybe take the temperature and throw a few ideas out there and see where they land.
Do I have to have any credentials to attend? I might actually be in DC around that time, and I could make it up there.
You have to register, and I don't know how much it is to do this, but it's SkyX Group, and it's just Google SkyX Group Harvard Club, and you'll see the website to their thing come up. And it's going to be a one-day thing on the 23rd. Should be good. I know they've done this for several years. I know there's been a number of people spoke at it. Derek Yock is going to be one of the people speaking. I know Tony Abood in the past has spoken. But, you know, I've got the unique aspect of being involved in the vape litigation, and also I'm involved in the Chevron case, and can talk about this. But one of the ideas I'm going to float, and I'll sort of tell everybody here, one of FDA's biggest problems was with this industry, there were so many folks, okay, that they had, I mean, everybody they were dealing with. They're used to dealing with a handful of big tobacco companies,
right,
and a handful of pharma companies. They're not used to dealing with thousands and thousands of tobacco companies. And it was unwieldy. My idea was, and this is a way to keep them straight if we win Triton, since we want to be in the Fifth Circuit in any fight we have,
right,
we need to create a cooperative in Texas that would handle marketing, and that manufacturers would license their products to this co-op, which would then refile new PMTAs. FDA is going to know that if they mess with us, any fight they have is going to be in the Fifth Circuit. So that is to our advantage. But by doing this, if we get enough people to buy in, enough manufacturers to buy in and be a part of this cooperative, it's almost going to be like a super distributor. And it's going to give FDA a single point of contact in dealing with these companies.
Yeah. And
it's part of your marketing plan that you have to be a part of this cooperative in your marketing plan to get a PMTA approved. And the cooperative is going to would then have to commit itself to doing post-market surveillance, have rules in place that would, and you've got to, if you're a member, you've got to abide by the rules to be part of the co-op. If you get kicked out of the co-op, you lose your PMTA.
Yeah.
If it works. So it solves some of FDA's problems, and it allows us to get a better control of the marketplace, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is this something that you've spoken to VTA, et cetera, about?
I've not talked to VTA about it. I've talked to some other stakeholders about it, and they seem to like the idea. I'm going to float this to the FDA people and at this symposium about this. Is this something we could even live with? Is something they would even work with us on?
And I'd like to pay you a compliment very briefly, if I could. One of the things that you do very well when you're in a, when you're speaking amongst people that are well-known scientific authorities, and then you have lawmakers and industry representatives, I think that you have a very keen insight. You have a lot of friends who are simply on the consumer advocacy side, and I think that's rubbed off on you, and it serves you well in how you communicate.
Well, I appreciate that, and I try to do that, just in my litigation practice in general, is boil it down, make it simple to understand, and I try to do that for the folks in the industry.
It's amazing it's amazing how few industry representatives come across as being even remotely familiar with consumers within that industry. And I understand that VTA is let's just say it's always been more of a professional lobbying firm of sorts to me. But, for a while there, they got pretty far away from the what consumers were interested in. They were just they took their hands off the wheel. And I'm glad to see, since we last talked to Tony, that's kind of coming back into that's something that's becoming more important, especially when you're speaking on behalf of industry and consumers. You don't want to sound like you're just talking about bottom,
And if you notice too,
line.
Phil, you know, I go to a lot of the shows on my own dime. There's no advocacy group paying me to be there. I walk the floor. I talk to folks. I hang out, have dinner, you know, socialize with the people in the industry.
And you're on this show. You're the pro bono.
I make myself available to the rank and file vapor, manufacturer, distro, retailer. And, you know, I like hanging out at the shows with the folks. And I can relate to the folks. And if I can relate to the folks, then I can advocate better for them.
We thank you for that.
And it's not uncommon for some of the DC lawyers to call me and say, hey, what are you hearing? Because they know that, you know, I'm talking regularly to folks on the street.
It reminds me of Stacey Hamilton. That's what she was so great at, especially when she was on the board at VTA.
Oh, absolutely. Stacey was amazing, and
Still is.
And still is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to Stacey in ages, but that's.
She always wishes me a happy birthday.
Oh, there you go. You can't beat that.
Sweetheart.
But you know, where we are right now is we've got to wait for this all to flesh out. And I can't tell you where it's going to go. I don't think anything's going to happen in Congress in the near term, simply because we're in election mode right now. Okay. You know, they're out campaigning. You know, we're finishing up the DNC now. We're 76 days away, I guess it is, from the election. There's not going to be a lot of legislating done between now and the election. And how the election pans out, I think, is going to play a big part of where this industry goes.
I actually don't know that I agree with that. How shall I put this?
Actually,
I don't think. Let's just say I don't think either one is going to be great for the industry. But I hear you.
Here's where I'm looking at this. If FDA gets blown up before the Supreme Court, and there's a regulatory vacuum that happens because of that decision, Congress is going to step in and fill that void. Okay? That's going to happen. Do we stand a better chance? And this is a question I posed to April Myers several months ago. Do we stand a better chance of making a deal with the current folks there or with new folks come January?
I'm hoping new folks in January.
I really try to keep it on the onus on how persuasive we are, and not so much as to whether or not they're open to being persuaded. It doesn't matter to me who it is. Yes, there are certain people who I'd love to see gone, but that being said,
but in reality, Congress is not going to allow a regulatory vacuum. That's a given.
Agreed.
And the question then becomes, since we've got mutual risk on both sides, we need to get a deal done in Congress to get a reform of the Tobacco Control Act before the Supreme Court rules.
And I think one of the encouraging things is, whereas the Democratic Party, to my absolute disbelief, has been much more ridiculous on this issue, incredibly anti-nicotine, anti-tobacco harm as a whole. Not to say that Republicans don't have their absolute schmucks, but what I've seen, and yes, you could say that we've been starting from zero. I've seen quite a few important, let's just say, liberal voices in favor of vaping, snus, nicotine patches recently, and in the last 6 months that I believe I've heard in the last 2 years prior to that. So, and I'm not going to name names, but some important ones, a couple of scientists and a couple of lawmakers. But
well, we've kept the ball in the air long enough to allow the science to catch up. The science is now on our side. And we're we're in a position now that that's good for us, so that when we go forward and we have to go back to Congress and we have to argue in the courts, now that agencies don't get the same deference they used to, guess what? We've got courts now are going to be able to say, hey, wait a second. You know, you're cherry picking, FDA, you're cherry picking studies here. You are ignoring studies that you financed, you funded, that don't say what you want them to say. You ignore those studies. That's arbitrary. We've got that. I'm citing in the draft of the Supreme Court brief 3 instances in which FDA relied on a study that was either later amended, and these were studies that they funded, or they simply ignored studies that they funded.
For me, why I bring up the backdoor thing is what I'm afraid of is that it's the big boys going to get an opportunity here to get out there first. And that's my my concern is I feel like the big boys are out there, and it's the same thing applies with whatever business you're in. There's that group that has all the money that is going to be able to fund things and get the FDA in their back pocket. Then you got the smaller manufacturers that are just, you know, they're feeling lucky they got this second opportunity. What I'm worried about is it's so quiet that I feel like maybe the big boys are getting an opportunity behind closed doors to set things up for them more so than the smaller guy. That's what I'm kind of worried about. Is that something that could possibly happen?
It could possibly happen. I know that the Senate Health Committee earlier this year, back in February, March, reached out and actually had some meetings with industry stakeholders. And I know April Myers from Safata met with them, and I know Tony met with them, and I don't know who else met with them. Yes. And April called me as she was done with her meeting, and we talked at length beforehand, and we sort of compared notes as to really maybe where's this going. And, you know, we sort of agreed that here are some key things to look at during this discussion that really will tell us what they're thinking. And they actually told her there's supposed to be a 30-minute meeting. It lasted nearly an hour. And they told her, says, hey, you've given us the most useful information of anybody we've met with. And it's exactly what we thought it was. They realize that this needs to get fixed, that there's a risk that it's going to get blown up by the courts. And they're wanting to get in front of it before they have to get in front of it. And they're reaching out because they do not know how to make this work on their own. They're looking for guidance.
Yeah. I just want an even playing field for everyone when this is said and done. If it's in our favor, that's what I want to see. I want to see an even playing field. I don't want to see what happened here in California with marijuana, where it pushed out all the guys that have been doing it for the last 30 years. You got growers up in Chico in that area that they're burning their shit. They would rather burn it than sell it at that price. And that's what I'm afraid of. It could possibly happen with this industry where, there are some big boys that have stuck it out. They've had the money. They had the money for PMTAs. They had the money for lawyers. They had the money to show up to these court cases and do this fight. And yes, you know, do they deserve more than, say, the average guy that didn't have that money? No, I personally don't feel that way. So my concern is it going to be a level playing field for everyone when it's all said and done? Well, and not price out everybody.
There's no such thing. It can only be
not in a capitalistic world. Yeah, no.
I do think there's a point at which Altria and BAT overplay their position to where, well, let's just say they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I have to ask, the meeting you said that was asked for by the Senate Health Committee, that we're talking about the same one that Mitt Romney is on?
I don't know if he's on Senate. Is he on Senate Health?
Well, so so minority, but then again,
I know she went up to DC or went down to DC for her. She's from Connecticut. She went down to DC and met with the staffers
Do you know who actually asked for the meeting? I would be very interested to know, because
it was who's the chair of this? Is it
Bernie Sanders? Actually, I think.
No, it wasn't Bernie. It was
You have the health, education, labor, and pensions, and within that committee there are various subcommittees. I don't know if it could be a number of people.
Who's the senator from Virginia? Is it
Republican
Warner?
or Democrat?
It's Democrat. Is it Warner? Someone on that committee. I know she had developed a real good relationship with their chief of staff.
It's not Maggie Hassan, no.
No, it's one of the ones from the Mid-Atlantic area. But she developed a really good relationship with this guy's chief of staff, and I'm thinking it's Warner from Virginia.
Hey, real quick, guys.
Thank you.
Because this is kind of I just looked up and let's do it here. Here we go. Ready?
Lou's got a big bruise, all grown up.
Yeah.
John.
His birthday. Wish him a happy birthday, guys. We have to wish.
Happy birthday.
Grab my Manischewitz here.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, I wish I could have got him on today. That would have been hilarious.
Charles's mom posted on Facebook, and I can't love that enough. I think
did he? I missed it.
Or Charles, I don't know. So whoever raised Charles, it was a wolf. I forget its name. But it was very touching. Happy birthday, Charles. We love you.
Happy birthday, man. It's good to be 40 again. No,
I think he was trying to keep it on the down low.
Yeah,
I had it marked, and I sent him a text, and I never heard back from him today.
I don't know what age that is.
Or can conceive of why people do that. At the same time, when I turn 50, oh dear Lord, I am going to throw down like in
that's a big number though. That's an important number. When you get to like like for us it's like for growing up,
I just feel
16
so good.
Is big. Yeah, 16 is a big number for us in the Italian family. So 21 is a big number for us. Then you don't get nobody cares about you until you turn 40, and then all of a sudden you have that 40s birthday.
What's 16 in? What's
it's just an important day for it's just yeah, you know, it's like, you know, and then no one cares anything about you until you turn 40.
13 was a bitch.
Yeah, but any day after 50 is great. You just have to celebrate every day.
Yeah, I firmly believe that I am absolutely going to howl at the moon and celebrate like I feel like I should celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big number. Yeah,
despite my kvetching, I'm doing really well. I like where my head's at.
And then 50 is that big one, and then nobody bothers or cares until you turn 65. Then that becomes a big number. Hey, you turn 65. All right, let's have a party. It's like
that's why you either retire at 60 or 70, just not
62. 62.
65. That's very, very boomerish. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there are certain government funds that you're become available to at 65, but I don't know. I think that's even.
Oh, you get your AARP card when you turn 50, so that should be coming in the mail.
Those bastards have been just like
you get that 10% discount at McDonald's for coffee.
I got my first invite to join AARP. I swear, when I turned 30, I'm like premature, guys. A little.
I think you got the wrong Phillip.
No, spelled it right with and everything.
And then you got to wait till you're in your 60s to get that free cup of coffee at McDonald's. And if you're like me, who gets home from work at 6 a.m. and you go into McDonald's, you can see all the old guys that are in there getting their free cup of coffee at 6 o'clock in the morning, man. I just look around. I was like, why are you guys up?
Hey, John, at your McDonald's by where you live, do you have a group of older folks that go in there every day and just congregate?
Yeah.
Same here.
Yep.
We used to have
same group of guys. It's like 10 of them, and they're in their. You can tell they're in their mid 60s, and I'm like, why are you guys up so early? You know, and why are you at McDonald's at 6 o'clock in the morning, man?
Because they went to bed at 8 o'clock.
When I was in high school, you know, obviously I worked at McDonald's in high school. Everybody did.
Yeah.
And the same thing here. There was this group of older folks, not all men. There were some women, and they would come in there, and they got the same thing every day. So as soon as you saw them walk in, you started getting it ready because sometimes they'd order special stuff, and you start getting it ready as soon as they walked in because you knew they were going to want it. They got it every day. And I remember there was one guy who was rather large, and he would always order 2 sausage McMuffins. And I'm thinking to myself, I ought to put a salad up there to the bin.
Breakfast salad. No, I talked to them last week, and they stay there until about 7, and then they take off to the golf course. Their tee times around 7:45, 7 and 7:30. So they come get their coffee at 6 in the morning, and then they take off and go play golf until 1, whenever they get done. I don't know how fast the golfers they are, but I'm sure.
It's funny, and there was a McDonald's here, in Southside Birmingham that was very much like that. You had your regulars, but that let's just say that McDonald's has seen some tough times, and those very same people, the regulars, the older gentlemen and ladies who literally will sit there and have their biscuit and have their coffee and talk about, I don't know, Mahjong for God knows how long. They've moved that scene to Jack's, and you know what? I do not blame them, not one bit.
Yeah.
They might have moved it over to, well, Lindsay and I both agree on this one. Oh Lord have mercy, what is it? Bojangles, Birmingham. We Bojangles. You know why? Because
I tell you guys, though, I mean, everybody out there, if you get a chance to sit down with those guys, they got a lot to say. And when I got to sit down, they've got a lot of interesting things to say, and it was fun just sitting there talking to those guys, and I was just like blown away. I mean, they're up on their politics, they're up on the city stuff. They got a lot of knowledge, and they love sharing it. They just want people to talk to them, man. A younger group to come in and talk to them. And
if you never worked in a restaurant setting where you were serving like a Sunday, if you had a brunch or a breakfast crowd who came in, if you didn't have that 12 top or whatever that came in every Sunday of older people who had life experiences that you could, feed off. If you were lucky enough to become their preferred server, that was a beautiful thing.
And I noticed it's everywhere because, like, when I was in Buffalo, my uncle was retired from Chevrolet, 35 years, and they have a group of guys that meet at Tim Hortons every single day, and they just sit there and they'll take over that whole Tim Hortons for like an hour and a half, man, just drinking coffees and whatever their sandwich stuff is. And it's a great group of guys, but having that group of guys at that age when you're retired to hang out for a couple hours, pretty cool. And then they had every Wednesday night, they have the retired Chevrolet's employee bowling night. They take over the whole fucking bowling alley in there in Buffalo, and it's just all UAW, I think. I don't know what they're called. Shirts on, retired Chevy employee motor plant, and it's like 200-300 of them, man.
Now I believe in showing that group deference. I do believe
amazing.
If you're going to go ahead, if you've got the uniforms, you have the age bracket. Let's just say that I believe in allowing those people to go ahead and play their game. I will wait my turn and do so with a smile on my face.
Yeah. Greg, anything else out there that we should be keeping an eye on here lately? I mean, it's like I said, there's not a lot out there.
What kind of strikes you're throwing? Get that.
Well, first off,
like there was.
Our buddy Nick Orlando's on.
Mr.
We
Nick.
Shout out to him. He saved Florida, for sure, or helped save Florida for sure. Just that, as I said earlier, we found out on the July 2nd that FDA's case was being taken by the Supreme Court. The briefs for FDA are due next week, so it's beginning to get real. This is happening, folks. The brief for Triton will be due October 7th. All the amicus briefs will be due then. By the middle of October, FDA's reply brief will be due. And this case is going to get argued maybe December, January. This is getting real, folks. We're less than 6 months away from this being argued.
Wow.
I do have a question. the FDA is required to supply, I think, the Fifth Circuit, is that correct, with progress reports? And there
Correct.
was
Well, no, they got the several circuits. They're actually having to do that.
There was a recent progress report that the FDA submitted, on which the circuit court decided to. They looked at that and they made a decision. They changed something in favor of the industry, and I cannot recall exactly what the circumstances were. Do you know what the hell I'm talking about?
There was a case that came out back a few weeks ago, SWT Global Distribution, and there's like 5 different companies. And the Fifth Circuit issued an unpublished opinion vacating the FDA's MDOs for them and sending them back based upon the holding in Triton.
It was a reaction to their most recent progress report, and it sounded like a very stern reaction from the court to I suppose a cavalier sort of nonchalance that the FDA is famous for in these instances.
Yeah, FDA is having to continue to report to the district court in Maryland in the American Academy for Pediatrics case about their progress in adjudicating the PMTAs.
I think this is a case in which the court was able or somehow had the power to, at the very least, not reverse MDOs, but stay whatever companies were involved with this, their orders to remove their products from the market. I cannot remember which.
I know that they're having. I know that FDA is having to file progress reports with several different courts. I know the Maryland court is one of them. They were having to do that in the DC circuit in Jewel. Now that Jewel MDO has been rescinded, that case has been dismissed. I think they're having to do it in a case in the 5th and maybe the 11th. I think those are the only active cases we've got right now.
Anyway, it was actually good news for the industry and not so great news for the way in which FDA is used to delivering reports that are very, very whatever. Hey, we decided this without any reasoning or any support for what they did. And the court said, well, we'd like to see more. In the meantime, these companies can still sell their product.
And the fact is, FDA has to be very measured in what it says right now because it's under a microscope.
Yep.
Anything it's like what's the old thing? Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Anything FDA says right now can and will be used against it before the Supreme Court.
That's been the case for everyone but FDA. I think it's about time, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And it could set off some red flags for other things that they're involved in as well outside of vaping, is how they have dealt with other companies in the pharmaceutical industry alone. It may open up a can of worms that Congress and the FDA may not be wanting out there. So,
well, and remember, the Supreme Court decided a case this past term involving FDA with regard to the mifepristone stuff out of the Fifth Circuit. The abortion.
I thought you were going to say phenylephrine, the complete placebo-like version of pseudoephedrine decongestant.
No.
You lost me when you said the first word, Philip.
There was basically the Food and Drug Administration was forced to.
Is that cough medicine?
Okay, the stuff that they decided to put behind the pharmacy counter that you have to show their license for, the decongestant that actually works. Yeah. Well, they came out with a crystal meth compatible decongestant called phenylephrine. Well, I don't know exactly how, but it was FDA approved, and the world was consumers already knew it was basically not taking nothing. And I guess some watchdog group got together and said, we would like for you to go back over the evidence proving that this actually does a thing. Right. As it turns out, they went ahead and said, well, we just don't have any evidence to that effect. Let's just say there's a year's worth of evidence, one way or the other. So it just really doesn't do much. And a lot of people hey man, when you're stuffed up, you don't want to be stuffed up anymore, and you don't want to spend $20 for 10 bills of some shit that doesn't work. So, but this is the issue. When you find the FDA put something on the market or approve something for a certain use, you could end up wasting a decade trying to prove that they did so inaccurately because
shady.
Well, not so much shady. It's just they made a call. At the same time, I really wish I didn't have to bring my license in every single time I wanted to Sudafed. But there you have it.
I know it's tough for the FDA. I mean, we've all seen the infomercials, and late at night, and they have this new pill, and it comes out there, and then it's like 10 seconds about the new pill, and then another 20 seconds about every side effect that's possible from this pill. And I'm like thinking to myself, how does it get approved? How does it get approved? You look at the side effects, and I'm thinking, who's willing to take a shot at this? I don't want to be standing there and all of a sudden shit my pants because I'm taking this pill. I mean, this
is more along the lines of non-drowsy antihistamines. Okay, remember when we got Zyrtec and all those? Okay, imagine if those things didn't put you to sleep, but they didn't stop you from having an allergic reaction either. So it's more along those lines.
And then 5 years down the road, all of a sudden, somebody's suing that pharmaceutical company because they got cancer from that pill. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell's going on? I mean,
John, everything on a long enough timeline.
Oh, I know. I'm thinking about going back to caveman times and just buying myself a medicine woman and just pounding herbs in my backyard to figure out how to make my headaches go away.
There's something called force majeure shit out of luck, and that does happen. And you know what? I think that the number of cases that can be attributed, cancer cases that can be attributed to vaping, that's right there with the same number of cases that can be attributed to that's OL. So what I was going to say is something that's really, hey, just Nick.
Look, just Nick. And then he's gone. It's just Nick. He just wanted to show us what his beautiful Florida tan and then left.
Rude.
You'll be back. You'll be back.
By the way, for those of you who haven't noticed on Twitter, we have the head of the Society for Research on Nicotine and Tobacco sharing TikTok videos about Mercedes air quality sensors just spiking because, it's water moisture. Oh,
yeah, water.
I have a personal air purifier, a very nice one, a Dyson and a Winix, that if you place them near your super hot bathroom shower near steam, for a couple of minutes, that air quality sensor will just go into the red and it'll just kick into high gear. It's just the steam. It's just that was the thing we talked about. I think we talked about that last week about that video with the guy in the Mercedes. But the president of the Society of SRNT, I kind of decided, I had a little Twitter meltdown on this. Didn't show it on Twitter, but he decided to share that despite Greg Conley and various other people, Roberta Sussman, sharing all sorts of we're talking very approachable, easy to understand evidence as to why these consumer grade air purifiers or air quality sensors will go nuts in the presence of steam. And this man shared it. That's as irresponsible as you get.
Yeah.
Nick!
Mr. Orlando.
What's happening?
You tell us, man. We miss you. We haven't seen you on the show in a long time. I know you've been busy, so I've been leaving you alone. Every time I look on your page, I go, I'm going to get Nick on. Then I look and I go, Nick is busy. Nick is busy.
Nah, you got to be fast to catch Nick. I hear there's a beautiful birthday girl in your family.
No, she graduated.
You're right. You're right.
Got her RN.
Beautiful picture. Yep. Mazel tov.
Today was the day, baby. Now I can retire.
And she shares it with Mr. Charles Gardner. Hey, that's pretty good, man.
She graduated high school or college?
College, nursing school. Yep.
College one. The college one.
Yep, there he goes again.
There he goes again. It's the peacocks, right? Or what do you got? Alligators in your pool, something like that. I don't know. He's
Florida.
It's Florida because possibly anything could be in his pool.
I had to sneak outside. They're all inside doing their thing. So
I thought you wanted to see us.
Get rid of the.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're just trying to get the hell away.
yeah. I just dialed on, and I was on Facebook for a while, and I said, "Oh shit, they're on YouTube. Let me jump over there." So I jumped back over here.
Yeah,
I see you got Mr. Troutman on here. What's going on with him? And then you just brought up some kind of stuff.
Brother?
What's going down? What are you doing? Causing problems?
We're just talking about the state of the industry and where things are and what may happen and what needs to happen and so forth and so forth.
We are now in the best space we've ever been.
It's gonna get better, I hope.
Damn right it will.
And what I was telling them is that, when we found out that FDA was going to have this case taken, okay, this is going to happen and so forth. But now we're getting closer to the time the briefs are due and all this. It's getting real.
It's getting real.
It's getting real.
We knew it would happen. It just took a while. That's all.
It's taken a while, and we keep racking up victories in New Orleans in the Fifth Circuit, which makes that decision even stronger.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Oh yeah, I was talking to the guys from Triton. I mean, they're overly excited. They're all pumped up, fired up, and ready to go, armed up for battle, man.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out, Nick. You're cutting in and out. Or is that me?
Really?
No,
That's you. That must be you. Am I cutting in and out? Or you?
I hear you fine, Nick.
John, quit screwing with me, man. But yeah, so I've been keeping up with those guys, Chris Finch and those guys, and man, they are ready to go. And obviously,
you're cutting in and out, Mr. Nick Orlando. You might have to do a close because you're making the whole. Yeah, everybody else is resetting. And
We
that
usually turn the tone.
It's always me, man. Why is it always me?
Now you look like someone in a cave.
Let me get the Papa-san over here. How'd you get the Papa-san?
Look at that legend. Win the day, baby.
It's the New Jersey Devil. The New Jersey Devil flying through the air. That's what I got when I saw your red eyes. They still have the New Jersey Devil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a hockey team. Am I still blanking out?
No, you're everyone's frozen.
Now you're frozen.
Yeah, I'm hearing you fine, but I'm in Florida too, so
I hear you fine.
Man.
All right,
the show's broken. John's doing the loop, not me, man. He's blaming it on me, you guys. So anyway,
you know what it is? I guarantee you, it's the coverage of the convention online.
It's California, dude.
That too, yeah, California.
It's California. That happens all the time over there. Some crazy stuff.
It's that Newsom cat.
I'm excited for where we are. I know Greg has been talking to you guys. I've been obviously listening, but we're going to be in a good spot. I truly believe it, based on what I'm hearing from the guys at Triton and what I'm hearing from Greg and what he's got going on, and everybody's mounting up, man. And we're in a good spot on the federal level, and in the states, obviously. We have our challenges. We've lost some, we've won some, and some like Florida, where the session never really ended because we had to bring on an administrative lawyer. Our group has engaged with the AG's office with negotiated rulemaking. We're going to have some open door conversations and some, participate in the rulemaking. We're meeting with Senate and House leadership out in front to try to get in front of anything that might happen. So we're going to do our part here in Florida, and then the federal level, I'd say, if we can support them in any way we can, that's what we got to do, because that's the big picture, right? Florida, I see it as, our governor and the organization sees it as, all our members agree, is that our governor's in position 2 more years here, DeSantis, but we kind of feel the last year of his governorship might be kind of a lame duck session. We're not sure, but typically we kind of see that because the new regime will start taking over and we'll see how it's going. Obviously, we're scared as to who might get in that seat, but we're doing our best to kind of voice our concerns with some of those that have been in conversations. And we never know, right? I mean, we don't know who's going to come out. of Congress in play in our state as governor. So we're hoping we got a couple of smoke-free champions up there that we want to come back to our state and have the mansion when that happens, when it vacates.
How will things go if Gates gets elected governor?
Gates isn't one of them, but Gates is he's a friendly. He's a friendly of ours. We're not really tight with him, but he's friendly to the industry.
It's not me this time.
He just is it me?
I don't
I
know.
still hear
Yeah,
him fine.
we're all good.
Okay.
So from what I know, Greg, about Gates is that he's a friendly of the industry. He's not very engaging because he's up there. More recent, I mean, I've had more conversations with Byron Donalds, and he's constantly checking in with us and making sure we're good.
He's a good man. He's a really good man.
Yeah. So we don't know where it's going to go. It could go Moody, could go Wilton Simpson, or it could go Melanie Griffin, it could go Donalds, Gates, could go so many different directions. We're still 2 years out. So really hard to call it right now. We know who is going to be the speaker for the next 3 seats of elections as far as designates. And we're engaging those individuals. So we're securing those seats for speaker and Senate leadership. So we're working on that as far as the state. Nobody's really talking about the governor. I mean, I wish, DeSantis could stay a little longer, but I understand he's gonna move on, and hopefully he'll have an impact when he does. Jeanette Nunez, she's lieutenant right now. We don't know if she's going to be named. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. With 2 more years,
let me ask you, Nick, where's Santo going to do for the next 4 years?
4 years. He's going to be here for 2, John, and then after that,
he's here for 2, and then he's done. So then he's just going to start campaigning for presidency.
He could do that, but I think that he'll be seeking something up in DC in the interim. He's been running around like a crazy man, and his office was great to us during session, but it's been go since then. I mean, we've had hurricanes and this and that going on.
He will be, if Trump wins, he might get something in his administration or something, but he's got 2 years in at that point to go work his brand nationally with no commitments to anybody. I think he's going to start campaigning, hit the road then. You're going to see him in Iowa, New Hampshire, some of your early places very, very soon after he gets out of office.
I see what you mean now. I am in the dark, ain't I? Let's see. Maybe that's a little better. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Whew.
Nick, I hope every state advocacy group in the union is taking note. I love to hear about it. It's just so very proactive what you're doing in Florida always.
Well, Phillip, it took us a long time. I mean, forever it was constantly on our heels fighting, right? And as time went on, we kind of learned it, right? I'm a vape shop owner, man. I don't know about this stuff. It's like we gotta mount up, be proactive, try to raise funds, and be able to be proactive. Without funding, you can't get a conversation. Yeah. So thankfully, the relationship we've built has put us in a position to where they'll sit down with us for 15 minutes. But we can't pay to play like a lot of these guys. I mean, you can't pay and contribute and be a part of those conversations unless you have a good lobby team. And we have a great lobby team. And they're affordable and reasonable and understanding of our industry. But a lot of states don't have that, and it's really hard to build that. I mean, we're 11 years going now.
So, I'd love to know what the lease rates are on your lobby team in the state of Alabama. Just, No, I imagine Florida is, having lived in Florida, it has its own, it might as well be its own country in terms of the various, at least real estate law is it's like another planet. So, bravo.
Well, it took the organization a long time to get there. Thank you, and I'm sure I speak for everybody in the organization, members, that, without the support of everybody in the community, I mean, during that veto, it took the whole country, right?
Right.
you guys remember, we do what we can, volunteer when we can, go out, put the free time in, and as long as we got the ingredients, we can bake the cake, baby.
Well said, sir.
I will say, hey, if anybody wants to like have their name in the hat for maybe after next session for president, there could be a seat available. Florida.
I love you, Nick, but I'm not moving back, baby. I might have a warrant.
Just throwing it out there.
Phillip.
No, I was in Tampa.
Did you see Phillip's picture up in the post office? Give him a heads up, okay?
No, we're all good. We're paid up. You'd be amazed what expired tags, citations could turn into. Just kidding.
Are those unpaid parking tickets, Phillip?
No.
Suspended mine because I didn't have insurance, and I called up. I'm like, wait a minute, I got insurance. What the hell are you guys talking about?
No, I learned that lesson when I lived in Phoenix, man. Don't screw around with those. Pay your parking tickets. Do not let the one that you got for an expired tag, don't let that slide, because sooner or later that's going to turn into, oh, yes, we're arresting you for something. Yeah, that happened to me in Phoenix. Never again. But the truth is, I would have loved living in Tampa if I wasn't living there at the very same time as my mother. That's all I have to say about that.
I don't live in Tampa. I live over the bridge, a little closer to the water. I don't think I could live in Tampa unless it's Tampa.
I know your neck of the woods is beautiful.
Yeah, I can't. Right now, Tampa's a little wild for me.
It's a little stupid too. But no, same.
20 years ago, different. 20 years ago, a little different. But now, I ain't doing it.
Oh man.
So what else, John? What do you want to talk about? What do we got? Anything?
Man, there's nothing out there, to be honest with you. I mean, I looked and looked and looked. I went to 5 different vape media sources that I use, and well, Kenya's on there. They have some new vape ban on flavors in Kenya and pouches too. So I guess there's not a clear description of what tobacco is there in Kenya. So they're trying to pretty much the same setup we have here in the U.S., where they're going to include vaping and flavors and certain pouches as well as being a tobacco product. And so that's the only other thing I saw on here.
Damn.
Let me see it. Yeah,
Greg, you got a lobby team over there in Kenya?
I was going to hire Obama.
Okay.
It says flavor
that's
ban,
a heavy lobby
nicotine
ticket,
limit.
man.
Yeah, so they're looking at a flavor ban, nicotine limits, and bizarre nicotine pouch warnings. So, that's the only news I saw out there, man. Everything else, like I said, that's why I wanted Greg to come on and talk a little bit. And my concerns were, it was the backdoor deals, and what kind of backdoor deals were going on, and if that was something that was possible in this industry as well. Is having some of the big boys meeting up with each other and trying to negotiate some sort of play that saves the FDA some face as well as them. So that's my concern.
I think FDA is doing some of its own face saving acts. Like for instance, the Juul rescission of the MDO was completely face saving because they were going to lose in the DC circuit and they were going to lose bad. So they had to do that. I can tell you who's losing their mind are the anti-tobacco groups. I can't wait to see the brief that the American Academy of Pediatrics, Truth Initiative, Heart Lung Campaign, PAVE, they're going to file it because I got the email last week from the lawyer who's going to do it, stating their intention to file next week. They're going to sing the old song, the old Parade of Horribles and the same dog and pony show that we've always heard about how hell's going, everything's going to hell in a handbasket and every youth in the world's going to smoke as an adult because we're here.
Yep.
This is what's going on in Kenya. E-liquids cannot contain nicotine concentrates greater than 10 milligrams. Bottled e-liquid containers cannot hold more than 10 milliliters. Disposable vapes, refillable tanks, and refillable pods and cartridges can't hold more than 2 milliliters. Vapes and refilled containers must be child and tamper-proof and must have a mechanism that ensures refilling without leaking. That's what they're trying to push for there in Kenya. Anybody out there in Kenya?
It's the Tobacco Control and Health Promotion Alliance in Kenya that is head. I want to say that's Joe Gichali's. Yes, Gichali. He's let's just say as far as passionate anti-tobacco crusaders go, he might be as over the top as they get. I believe
I'm blocked by all of them.
Oh dear Lord! That's why I have multiple burner accounts, so I can see all this crap because they all blocked me a long time ago. But Joel Gichali is,
and I guess it says here nicotine pouches cannot contain flavors.
Well, here's what I'd like to know: why are they actually hosting polls on Twitter if this is already policy? Because Jukka Kilavori from Finland has been sharing these, and I guess, they're very, let's just say they're in line with everything that is Truth Initiative, any exposed tobacco, bath, THR. Yeah, they are horrendous.
Hello, microwave oven. I love that name. Is it? I don't know their numbers, but I'm assuming a lot of people smoke in Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. The African countries, gosh, I don't know which one, but between Kenya, I want to say Nigeria, these places just huge populations and cigarettes everywhere, and much less so safe for nicotine products of any kind, just because of our good friend Mike. It's horrendous. But what I was, and of course the World Health Organization being very active in those parts of the world, it's just terrible. But we have people like Joseph Maguro working on that. But I would like to point something out. Dr. Michael Siegel, for the first time in many, many moons, has posted a new blog entry about the latest Gallup poll showing that the vaping to smoking gateway, once again, is fantasy. And essentially, I'll let you, essentially new data show that e-cigarettes are saving lives, debunk claims by opponents that vaping is a gateway to smoking. So the Gallup, that's just on the really good news side. Let's just say if Dr. Siegel is tweeting about it, it's news.
Yep.
Good point.
It's a really good read, too. Yep, Tuesday, August 20th. I can't remember when his last entry was before that, but it's been a while.
Kenya ranks 7th in nation in tobacco use in Africa.
What would be the highest in Africa, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm going to look. That's what I was looking to see, who was the highest.
Uganda.
Yeah, that's probably.
It's probably true. Yes, 6.7. Oh, wait. South Africa includes South Africa with 8.4 million users.
Sorry, Kurt.
You got me.
Should have known that.
Ghana is second with 6.7 million. Dominican Republic of Congo is 5.7 million. Madagascar 4.6 million. Nigeria 3.5 million. There's a lot of smokers.
But what's the population of Nigeria? It's absurd.
I don't know. 100,000. I don't know.
We got a lot of smokers.
They've got a lot of smokers, and that's why they're wanting to.
Obviously, try 219 million.
Yeah.
Government's
220 million. That's the
government's making too much money.
It's insane.
The biggest part I forgot was South Africa.
But we've had someone on the show many years ago that is an advocate out there in Africa. I can't remember his name. I feel bad. But we've had him on the show. It was early during the show, and he came on, and from what I got from him, vaping seems to be it would work there, but that with the power problems that they have throughout that country as far as electricity and who gets it, when they get it, when it can be shut off, when it can be turned back on, it seemed to kind of make it difficult to be a vapor in Africa if you constantly don't know when you're going to have electricity, you know? And even during the show, he warned us that he could get cut off because they could shut the power off at any time. That's why he had backup generators and he would be back on. And I was like thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, well, if you're a vapor and you need to charge your shit and they just decide to shut it off here, you know, hey, you know, we need the power somewhere else. So, you know, I can't remember who it was. Nick, do you remember? It was early.
I do remember, but I don't know his name.
Yeah, he's an advocate out there in Africa, in South Africa.
I remember the logo and everything.
I'm assuming it's not Kurt, right?
No. You know what? I'll look it up as you guys talk, and then that way I can tell you who it was. So talk among yourself.
Hi, Michelle. I didn't say hi to Michelle.
I said that to you.
What? You didn't say hi to Michelle?
No, I just jumped in and started talking. You kept telling me I was making noise and crackling.
It's a pleasure to say hi to Michelle. What's wrong?
You threw me off, dude.
I'm literally losing my mind that Nigeria accounts for over 15% of the population of Africa. It's 220 million.
Yeah.
That's just... I knew this, but in second place is Ethiopia, which is not even close.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's half that.
Wow.
My God.
Well, if you consider that a good part of Africa is pretty much uninhabitable.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's desert or it's jungle.
Right.
Well, this part is inhabitable. What's your
Kurt, what's his last name? YEO. Kurt YEO.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
Kurt
yeah.
Yo.
Yeah, that was him. It was him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
he's very active advocate.
Yeah, 1 year ago we had that interview with him, and it was funny because he just kept telling us, "Hey guys, I could be shut down at any second here," and I'm like, "What? The government?" He goes, "No, they just shut the power off," and I'm like, "What?"
It's a different existence in those parts, but recently he's been doing quite a few video testimony. He's gotten pretty good at that. You should check it out.
He's got a new show too.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do know
Thank you,
he's
Jeff.
going to be doing that.
Jeff CMRRA. I can't even see the chat, you guys, because I'm on my phone. But hi, Jeff.
I'll put him up there for you.
Nick,
Nick, say hello to our new favorite name on YouTube, Microwave Oven.
Who is that?
Cousin to the air fryer, I suspect.
Air fryer. That's the next one, Phil, right? Air fryer.
I
John.
still think it's my mom, so let's just tone it down here for a bit.
I love Microwave Oven. He's great.
Yeah.
20 Bank of 18650s charging on time. Not mom. Okay.
Hey, everybody remembers when we were told not to use the microwave because it'd give us cancer. Don't stand so close to the microwave.
Man,
Mom used to say that all the time.
In front of that fan and prayed.
Mom used to tell us all the time, don't stand there and look at it. You don't need to stand
Even
there
when
and
I was 10, I knew that was just a crock of shit. I sat there. I'm like, all right, I'm waiting. Come on, please, let's go. Give it to me. Yeah.
I still know people with pacemakers, and they won't.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
It wreaks havoc with your Wi-Fi signal. Other than that,
it does.
Use your microwave in moderation, of course.
I have a buddy's house. Anytime he turns the microwave on, it shuts the whole Wi-Fi down in his whole house. So everybody that's on there is gone until it's done.
Well, a person should know not to plug the microwave and the high-powered air fryer on the same circuit because
God, no. Yeah.
It's a poor decision, right?
Yeah. Jeff, we need to get you back on the show here soon. You've been doing a lot of things. We're with your video public. I don't know what is it's your I forget what it's called. It's got a name for his production company.
Sorry.
Yeah, his production company.
No, and I believe he won an award at the
yes.
GFN, which is no small thing. We're all very proud of you, Jeff.
Yes, we need to get you back on the show and work it out. I know there's a big time difference there for you and us, but we'll work it out.
But his film's production quality is just beautiful.
Yeah, it does excellent work. And that was the only news that I got from vaping, man. That's like I said, I'm just like nothing is out there. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's saying anything. Everyone's kind of taking a back door and just kind of waiting it out.
Summertime. They're all on vacation.
They're on
Summertime.
vacation.
That's part of it, but I think we're sort of in a position right now that until we get a decision from the Supreme Court, everybody sort of is held in place right now.
The other thing is, we had a hell of a session throughout the whole country in individual states.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many bills. I mean, we had 30 plus just on the PMTA, and then we had all the hemp stuff going on. They might be wore out on the other side. We're ready to go. They're wore out.
We're not worn out. They're not worn out. But I tell you, this industry stood up and fought, and I thought we were going to be dead in the water this year. I knew some places would fight, but we won more than we lost.
Yeah.
I hear you, Greg. You don't look like yourself all of a sudden.
I'm going to refill my glass.
It's Coca-Cola, guys. There's no alcohol in his drink.
It's actually no.
Sweet tea.
No,
Please don't tell us more than we need to know.
Big Red.
It is Kroger branded Diet Cherry.
Diet Cherry. There you go. No alcohol, baby.
It's not Big Red. Come on, Greg.
You got Grey Goose.
You got to turn off the camera for the Diet Kroger Cherry. Counselor, are you okay?
I'm fine. My kitchen and everything. You don't want to see my kitchen. It's all messed up.
You don't want to see.
Actually, I do want to see your kitchen.
And actually, you're talking about air fryer. I still have the door of it open from this morning when I cooked my breakfast.
Yeah.
Everything is better in the air fryer. I swear to you.
I have fell in love with my air fryer to the point where I have to stop using it because I've gained 10 pounds. That's because
if you're going to eat crap, the least you could do is put it in the air fryer and cook it that way, because at least that crap won't get worse in the cooking process.
See, I never fry anything, but I'll use the air fryer because it's healthy and it's better than cooking it in the oven,
Yeah.
It's faster and it is better, and you can actually do.
You guys need to do a whole show on this because I need recipes.
I'm just saying, man. In lieu of things to actually talk about that matter, it's important that you know that the Ninja Foodie Grill air,
the Ninja fryer, baby,
blah blah blah, the one with the grill insert that can do all kinds of things. Look, I don't know how often you're going to cook steaks, but let's just say it does it. It takes a while to figure out the timing. But my God, it's now like, I don't know, half of what I paid for mine. And I'm very happy for you people. Take advantage of this moment in history. Thank you. God bless America.
Hey, man.
The only thing I'll put in it is like chicken every now and then. As I will cook like chicken nuggets or something in it.
Hot stickers, English muffins, my dear Lord. I've cooked a rack of lamb on the bad boy. When
those of you that heat up pizza, leftover pizza.
Sometimes
really
it's
like,
leftover pizza in it is amazing.
Leftover pizza is great. Leftover pizza is great. And
listen to these gentlemen; they know what they're talking about.
French fries. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to go ahead and
French fries are really good in that. And what's good too is get some wings and do your wings in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday night.
Here you go. This is that. I found the clip, so let me play the clip so we can get a better idea what's going on in Detroit.
Youngest fourth graders vaping. So this school year, they're trying something new to stop it. That's detection dogs. CBS News Detroit's Walter Murphy has the details from Lakeview High School in St. Clair Shores.
Well, Lakeview Public Schools and Zebra K9 are entering their second year working together. It's the first year that those dogs are going to be able to sniff out vape pens. That goes for nicotine as well as THC. Something the school administration says they couldn't be happier about.
Come on.
Meet Moose, a lovable dog who's about to start his first year at St. Clair Public Schools. But Moose isn't here to learn because he's already been taught the task that he was sent for. Find contraband like nicotine and THC vape pens.
Oh, he found one.
If I can get another set of hands, eyes, ears, and a nose, it's going to have an impact.
Carl Paul,
like it's important.
Lakeview Public School.
Like his set worked ever to begin with.
An education program last year to warn students about the dangers of vaping, which he says caused a 15% decrease in vaping use in middle and high school students. And now with Moose on his team, he's hoping to see those numbers fall even further.
I'm not saying we catch everyone. dogs aren't everywhere all the time. Our staff aren't everywhere all the time, but the chance that you're going to be caught is going to be higher.
Greg Gaitis, who owns the company who provides the dogs to Lakeview, says that many variables can affect the ability of the dogs to sniff out the bad things. But he believes that the preventative aspect is worth its weight in gold.
The piece to keep in mind is that it's also a preventative measure, that if students know that the canine is capable of detecting vape or firearms, why run the risk, right?
But if Lakeview Public School students do decide to run that risk, the first offense will land them a 1-day suspension, a penalty that will only increase with more offenses.
Make the healthy choice. Make the smart choice. Don't destroy your brain with something that your body's not ready for.
This is an infomercial.
It's
No,
of
I'm
course.
okay.
it-
I got a question. Will the dog sniff out cigarettes?
I hope so.
He said nicotine. I have a heart. You know what? As soon as the CEO of whatever, I have a new crisis and I'm not letting it go to waste, startup.com. As soon as that guy got up there, I'm just thinking to myself, well, here we have something. Yeah, he's cashing in on a fabricated crisis. And what I do know is this much. I think that, can they get a dog to sniff out, bullying and, teen depression and crap like that? That'd be great. That'd be great. But no, let's do this. All I know is that coach right there. I don't know. Criminal. That's all. I'm just.
It's Tim Wall's brother. It's Tim Wall's brother.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. But probably.
No, he's kidding.
I had a feeling.
Hey, you remember the warehouse scene from Beverly Hills Cop?
Yes.
You pack your
coffee,
stuff. Stuff in coffee grounds. It's going to throw the dog's nose off.
Yeah.
You guys heard the beginning, right? A fourth grader.
A little bit of Greg giving the kids of Detroit a little information here. Coffee grinds will work.
The fact that they're spending taxpayer dollars
that works
on this bullshit is blowing my mind.
Right.
Taxpayer dollars. The guy, Phillip, hit the nail on the head. He's making a fortune on this friggin' propaganda.
No. I'm actually looking forward to him losing the fortune that he's trying.
The guy's going to make it. He's already charging them. He's going to make it. He's charging to train the dogs.
I really don't see any
12
public.
years.
Yeah.
They're paying the money, Phillip. They're paying the money to train the dogs.
Yeah, but Black Labs, they're going to unionize eventually, and they're going to say, "Fuck you."
I think those dogs are overworked. I think they need.
He's already made his money.
You're right.
He's already made his money. The moment
they're going to find enough crap in kids, backpacks, where one kid is going to have something that's really on the cusp of being no big deal, and the PTA is going to throw a fit. Some really well-to-do parents going to lose their mind because their kid. Is getting suspended for having what they thought was a THC pen, but it's actually a nicotine pen. And even then it was zero nic, and it's all going to fall apart. All it takes is for that dog to get a little too ambitious once.
Liability.
To the point.
It's
too ambitious, and it has a false positive, and they then search someone's locker based upon a false flag.
No kid should be subjected to this kind of crap.
I can see lawsuits coming where the school district gets sued. This dog company gets sued. The dog probably gets sued.
Dog.
Let's let that Ganef just do his thing and just wait for him to.
Who's running the dogs? Was that local law enforcement?
It's a special company. That guy, K9 Zebra. The company's called Zebra.
The handler was Zebra, not local law enforcement.
Zebra, not it's a private company.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're screwed. They're screwed.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
They're screwed. They don't have the financial back, and they'll be out of business after 1 year.
Come on, did you see those two guys? Yeah, Yiddish word for thief is ganef. I'm going to go with meshugana ganef.
But it makes good news. It makes good news, man.
What do you think about the penalty, though, being only 1 day suspension?
They know they're in a ringer.
You mean? Well, they just said the same dog is, able to, detect THC, marijuana, cigarettes, and nicotine vapes. So, I mean, that's a lot for any one Labrador Retriever to, sniff out. What I'm trying to say, there's a pretty big difference between those infractions, I would say, because one is traditionally illicit, and for example, in Alabama, you are in deep shit. So what I'm trying to say is, a dog sniffs out what turns out to be the equivalent of a damn whatever of views, and they suspend the kid on the basis of it being marijuana. Turns out to be views, not only views, but no nick in it. That's going to be a bad day for the venture capitalists. It's going to laugh.
And you know well that there's going to be some kids out there that are going to. This is going to be a challenge for them. They're going to try to sneak stuff in and find ways to sneak stuff in and disguise it to fool the dogs, just as a challenge.
But you know what really upsets me? Kids in high school, they actually do need help. This is just the antithesis of what they actually need. This is what they don't need. New and interesting reasons to be freaked out. No, new and interesting reasons to be freaked out over nothing. It's just it's too bad, because a lot of high school kids actually do need support. And this is not support. This is a bunch of adults who could be doing their jobs, just deciding, well, I'd rather not do my job and get paid in the interim. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point though, Mallory. If it's not in the locker and the dog smells it on the child's person, I mean, now there's a search. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know how the rules work when something's on your body, in your pocket, compared to being in your locker.
Save the Labrador Retriever. That's all.
I think when you're in school, you're on school property.
You're on school property.
Anything goes.
Yeah. Is that how it works there, Nick?
Well,
it does, but a lot of times with the school resource officers and stuff. But you touch my kid, we got problems.
Yeah, how it works is the rules for the locker and the rules for your person are different, because the locker belongs to the school. You're using it. Your body doesn't, and they have to have just a reasonable suspicion for the locker. They've got to have a little bit closer to probable cause if they're going to search your person. I don't care where you are or where it is.
Yeah,
but a dog would do that, Greg. A dog would do that. I don't know how these dogs are certified, but a canine could do that.
And for the most well-adjusted high school student, high school is stressful enough as is. This is not
right.
Well, and I'll add a little more to it. I think a parent should be present. I think if you're going to search a child, I think a parent should be present when that search is being taken, because we've had that issue where that one teacher actually had the kids stripped down to their underwear.
Right.
And two of them were females. And it's like, no, buddy, you're getting sued. You have my daughter stripped down to her bra
I can tell you, even when I was a high school student, I'm a lot ballsier now than I was when I was 17 or 18. But even then, I would have told a school administrator to go pound sand. I'm not taking my clothes off.
Nope.
And if the minute they put their hands on me, we got to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think my parents would have jumped in right behind me on that.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. I mean, they would have called them and I would have said nope. And the police would have been called and I would have said nope,
Right.
And, I mean, the whole bit, it would have gone down if it was me, because I was one of those kids who, yes, I did smoke in school. Yes, I did drink in school, and the drinking was bad, but, I also needed nicotine, and it was legal in my school at that point.
Yeah.
But now it's not, and I get that, but I don't agree with it.
Oh no, man. My parents would have backed me up.
I just remember in elementary school, my principal was a little too handsy with the boys.
Oh,
even enough that this is back in the 70s, that the kids recognized he was a little too handsy with the boys.
Yeah.
And my mom actually said to him, if I ever hear of you putting your hands on my son, you won't have any hands left.
Yeah.
She said that to him.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
The fact
and trust me, he wouldn't have had any hands left.
Yeah.
This is something that people should know by virtue of existence. They shouldn't need to be told.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to take anyone's limbs, but God damn it, I'm perfectly willing. As a matter of fact, I need to go throw some garbage away. Anyhow, that's it. It's important that when we are, have time away from, pressing advocacy issues, that we have something to just, I don't know, fill that void.
Yeah.
If you haven't read Jacob Greer's first opus, and I do mean opus, unlike his collection of extremely well-written essays on the virtues of leaving tobacco and people who use tobacco products the hell alone, because it's called agency and the state really does not have, in his mind, the right to say what this can be done, this can be done there, not there. And people who smoke have agency, and governments being complicit in shaming those people is something that should never happen. All that being said, this is a very, very deep dive into the history of tobacco use, how the Tobacco Control Act came about, all the way up to in the advent of modern day e-cigarettes, vaping, etc. It's a really dense, extraordinary read. I cannot recommend it enough.
What is it again?
This is The Rediscovery of Tobacco, Smoking, Vaping, and the Creative Destruction of the Cigarette by Jacob Greer.
I'll have to order that.
One of my favorite people who he had on the show the same day that Greg and I got back from testifying, Greg Conley in Montgomery, Alabama. And John, if I'm not mistaken, you completely, you had a bit of a you had a TIA and you couldn't remember his name. And I'm like, Johnny.
I get those a lot.
I'm pretty sure that just get it.
Hey, did any of you all see the picture that was taken at the Republican National Convention last month of one of the nights of the table with all the vapes that had been confiscated?
Yes, that was hilarious.
I wonder if there's a similar photo from the Democratic convention this week.
I doubt it.
I'm sure there won't be.
I guarantee you they're vaping too.
Yeah, and you know what? I would hope that they would have the good sense not to make that a huge news story, because nothing says security like making sure you don't have your
rat. Oh, gotcha. You can't bring that in there. Now, I'll ask you all this question. I mean, I know when it comes to what's going on in the country, vaping is way down here as far as this presidential run. Do any of you guys feel funny that it's not even been mentioned yet by either party or even an independent yet at all? I mean, it hasn't even come up in conversation.
I'm not at all. And the reason is what James Carville said in 1992. It's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
Economy, border, foreign wars right now. That's what's on everybody's radar, as it should be.
Yes.
I think you can choose your weapon, and you can find your way to support them, but it's going to have to be through another avenue than tobacco harm reduction, because that's just going to get drowned out, I think, personally.
You all were talking earlier about behind the scenes stuff. What we need to be doing behind the scenes between now and November is we need a grassroots effort badly to influence a few select races, because we can sneak in and maybe steal some votes in some places that nobody's polling vapors. Nobody's polling what vapors are going to do in this election. So for instance, we have a chance in Ohio to flip a Senate seat. We have a chance in Michigan to flip a Senate seat. We have a chance in
Pennsylvania too.
In Arizona and in California to flip a Senate seat. Imagine if we could flip that Senate seat with Steve Garvey instead of having Adam Schiff. Imagine if we could do that. In a place like Georgia, how many thousand vapors could we turn out to vote Republican And how is that going to Pennsylvania? How's that going to have an effect on the election? Virginia, North Carolina. We've got some places that if we play and we get a small effort, we can make a big difference in the outcome of those races, down ballot and presidential, come November.
If you do it now, you send the message early, they'll start changing some things. But you got to be able to land in one of those states that you just mentioned with a group and activate that group with one message. So that's the task at hand.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If I may, something that is very important to me is the way to keep this apolitical, as in it doesn't necessarily, the vaping issue doesn't belong to any one party, is to say, keep this in mind when we're, steering people toward one candidate or another. This isn't about politics. This is about the political consequences of ignoring people who quit smoking using these products.
Right.
And it's not necessarily about the candidate who is going to recognize the right to use these products. It's about that candidate having paid attention to people who have political, they have, let's just say we have a lot of credit at the polling places, and we do have a great deal of influence. And it's not about Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal. It's about how we can sway either way to whomever is willing to it's about policy. It's not politics, and it's about.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Phillip.
We want everyone from every side of the spectrum involved here, and that's how we keep it apolitical. It's really important.
Absolutely. And the fact is, we know Kamala Harris's record. Okay, she's never been a fan of this industry.
Right.
You can say a lot of things about Donald Trump, and a lot of them probably bad. But the one thing you have to acknowledge is this industry would not be here right now had Donald Trump not did what he did in January of 2020 and divide open system and closed system and just recognize that distinction. And if he had not done that, we wouldn't be here right now. And actually, what he did was a pragmatic businessman move.
I
agree. Hey guys, we are at 6:12. We're way past, so I want to thank Greg for joining us and Mr. Orlando. Always tan, always looking good in there. Nick,
always. Just a hint of Yulebrenner in there, man. But damn, God bless him.
Future governor of the state of Florida, right there.
Damn right. Oh yeah, Nick for Gov.
Hey, if you haven't seen
your counselor Ramon forever, baby.
If you haven't seen Nick in a suit, he fits right in, man. He rocks that suit. He knows what he's doing. I think he'll be great.
He looks like Tony. He looks like he looks like a Sopranos cast member.
Yeah, he does look like Sopranos.
Mr. Nick for insert public office here any day. Just give me a call. We'll make it happen.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Phillip. Phillip endorsing that book right there. Go check it out. I think someone put a link to it on Amazon, I think in the chat somewhere. You can find it there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Sorry about the screw up start. That was kind of weird. But we will be all back next Wednesday. Everybody look into the camera. Let me get ready. Everybody look in the camera and do the banana. No, I'm kidding. Say goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.